Seven?
Wait, no, I'm just.
Just on it, Michelle.
Give me 1 second, let me just start it up here.
I have pretty much it unless you have any questions about the cases. We'll see when people come up and talk to us and see what they have to say. Yeah. This is
Right.
It's not, it's not. I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so you know how to put that on by itself. Let's see.
Yeah.
I made it.
Let her something over here.
And
Sorry, you live. Trying to,
just getting our steps in.
yeah.
That's cheating. That's that.
The last couple standing minutes.
Cheat going like this.
Yeah. Oh, you lit it.
Oh, totally. Yeah, do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. All right, call to order for the Woodstock ZBA meeting of March 27th. Jude Salato.
Martin Mills. Redwood Road.
Okay, we have a quorum. Does anybody have any changes or additions to the agenda? No? Okay, so we have minutes to approve from February 3rd, 2025. Move to adopt the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
All right. So we have 3 public hearings for tonight. The first one is I'd like to move to open CBA case 2501, application of Ian Vinci for property located at 234 Tinker Street, Woodstock, New York, 12498. A 5.15 acre parcel located within an, why does it say SLI zoning district? Isn't it just an LI zoning district?
I know the answer.
Okay, well then, then I'll just leave it. For variances from the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, Article 4, Area and Bulk Regulations, Section 260-16, Attachment 2, for an 87-foot infringement into a 125-foot side yard setback on the west side, and Section 260-16, Attachment 2, for a 94-foot infringement into a 125-foot side yard setback on the east side, in order to construct a 50-foot by 100-foot metal storage building. So you are the applicant or the applicant's representative. Would you just like to come up and talk? You're the
I
applicant.
just want to say an SLI is a special light industrial.
I don't know why it would be asked, but okay. Come on.
That's it.
Yes, please do. And tell us what you're doing and talk us through it.
I brought you guys some folders,
Thank you.
and my assistant put these together. This is part of our application, and then an image of what the building would look like, which is pretty simple. Essentially, the back part of our parking lot is all asphalt, and it kind of bleeds into a lightly wooded area. And we have a manufacturing company, it's light manufacturing. At that location, we do storage, shipping, and administration. And we also have a CNC shop there. We are,
CNC is,
it's just a computer controlled mill and lathes for cutting metal. And we're basically out of space. So we need to put up a storage building, so when we get shipments of metal or whatever it is that we machine, or the stuff that we get ready to ship out to our customers, we need a place to store it. So we're effectively out of space inside, so that is the most logical place to build. On that property, you can't really see it from the view I gave you guys, but the field to the right, the previous owners had donated it to the Land Conservancy. So it's just basically like an open field that we mow.
Mhm.
But it's kind of limited our ability to spread out in location. So
Mhm.
in order to continue to function our company, we need to add the space.
Okay.
And so the structure would be virtually identical to the architecture of the existing structure that's on the site. It's just a traditional steel building. We would match the siding, which is corrugated siding, corrugated roofing. And yeah, it would kind of look like it was there originally, I guess, want to put it that way.
So there's a line of trees which was planted for screening for the neighbors. You'd be removing those, or you'd be,
Not all of them, just maybe a row or two.
so you're not, you're gonna, so I kind of drove around just to get a sense. So there's a parking lot and then there's a line of trees.
Right.
So you're saying you would be removing some of that.
Yes.
I was on the planning board in 1997.
Oh, you were?
I was
Okay.
when it was on Ferry and they came to get the light industrial designation, and Diane had purchased that adjacent field in order to be able to have enough acreage to be a light industrial. So,
Oh, that's right, okay.
yeah, and I believe, and that was, and I think that's why the neighbor sold it to her, was so that it was gonna remain,
So it wouldn't get
Open
built
field,
on,
right,
but it
exactly.
allowed her to,
but it allowed her to have the additional space.
okay, makes sense.
So, my understanding back then was there wasn't a lot of room for expansion. Now, this is a big ask. Normally when people ask us for variances, it's for a shed or an addition to their house or something. So this is a very 5,000 square feet, is big. So I'm gonna ask you, have any alternatives? Do you have other sites you can use? I know you own some other properties in town. Can you live with a smaller structure? This drawing to me, does it run the whole width of the parking lot?
No,
Cause 100 feet, okay,
I had him, they measured the back parking lot, and I have a graphic designer that works in the
Uh-huh.
marketing department, so I told him to take the dimensions and just scale the building down. To give it a visual representation of what it would look like in that area.
gotcha.
So is it
'Cause-
exactly to the foot? I can't say, but that shipping container that's off to the side,
Mhm.
those are about 8 feet wide.
Are those the ones that are there now?
So then the question of, are there any alternatives for you for
We've-
storage or?
We've been busting at the seams for a few years, so we've
Mhm.
already been using those alternatives.
Right,
Frankly, my only alternative is to not operate out of the town, because I kind of need this space. What we did, the reason we bought those buildings down the street,
Mhm.
the old Simulates buildings,
right,
is because we couldn't continue our manufacturing in that location at Tinker Street. So we moved most of our manufacturing down the street.
right,
So this building has really just remained administrative and shipping, because it's better for the tractor trailers that kind of come in and go for our shipping, which is, we ship to like Amazon, and it's just boxes that go out every day. The side road that we have our other structures on, that is not really good for additional tractor trailer going down that road, So, if I need to expand manufacturing, I have a little bit of space over there, I can do that, but that doesn't help solve my problem with this location, which is really distribution needs. Because we build far ahead, and in today's economy, it used to be you would manufacture products and you ship it out to your distributors, and they would hold stock and ship it.
mhm,
But everything has been set up to work for everybody, where the actual OEM, which is us, holds the inventory until just in time, they call it just in time delivery. And so you have to hold your inventory and ship it just in time.
gotcha.
So this is a critical space, I mean, for you, it's a big ask. We look at it like it's just a minimal amount of space just to operate, because 5,000 square feet fills up quickly. It just takes, because most of that space is just to move equipment on it.
Right,
You put pallet racks in the side, you need about 15, 17 feet just to swing a forklift and pull a pallet off, so most of it's actually empty,
right,
the way it ends up working out.
right.
Um,
Do you know what the square footage of the main, because that was expanded, I think, back in 97. So do you know what the square footage of the?
It's roughly 18,000.
18,000.
And just to put it into perspective, that we're willing to eat into the parking lot a little bit to prevent taking some of the trees down.
Mhm.
If you look at those shipping containers, those are 40 feet. You can see it from the satellite view.
Hmm.
That's what I mean, like maybe the first row of trees, because the ship container's 40, we're only talking about going 50 feet deep on the building.
Mhm.
So if taking the trees down was an issue, we can creep into the parking lot a little bit because we already don't really use that for parking.
Right,
I don't know if that was more of an issue because it's already part of the site plan to have the parking there, but if that is one of the issues, that's not a problem for us.
and the height of this building?
The height, it's just basically you get like a 12-foot door, so I'm thinking the height in the center it would be the same height as the other building. I think it was like 18 feet at the peak, and I think it's 16 feet at the leg walls,
Mhm.
the way it works out.
Will this increase the amount of shipping trucks that come in and out?
It shouldn't,
How many do you average on a day already?
it's maybe 2 to 3. Some days could be heavier, some days it might be 1 or 0, but it's probably on average
Are
about 2
these
to
like
3.
big semi trucks or
Yeah, it's like a tractor trailer that comes through.
will this be used as a loading dock?
Nope, no, what this is when we bring in raw materials. We offload them off of a tractor trailer. And most of it's to either feed the machine shop or storage for just empty boxes.
Okay.
So they come in, they drop it off. Right now, what we do, so you know, is they come out, it can't be a day when it's raining. And we have forklifts that come outside, we empty the whole thing. We go into the warehouse, we empty most of the warehouse, and I have all my people coming, it's kind of like Jenga or Tetris maybe, Sometimes it's like Jenga. But we kind of squeeze everything back in there, and it's just super inefficient. And then what happens when you use shipping containers is A, they're ugly. And B, you can't get to the stuff that's in the back. So you have to take everything out of the shipping container because we use FIFO, which is first in, first out. So the last inventory that came in, is supposed to be the last one that comes out, so to speak. So
How many shipping containers do you have now? 2?
I think there's one there, and then we have one next to the building.
Would you get rid of those?
The idea would be that we could move those, get rid of them. I could move them, to another location somewhere else. We don't really like using them. You can only use half the space and ship the container the way if you're supposed to operate out of it.
No,
Mhm.
answer what I was gonna ask.
Okay, all right, well, can you read the contiguous neighbors, please?
Street 240 Tinker LLC at 240 Tinker Street, Woodstock. Michael Galen and Allison Sloan Galen at 232 Tinker Street. And overlooking United Methodist Church at 71 Vandale Road.
So is there anybody here from, yes? Do you guys wanna come up and talk to us? You can pull up another chair so you can both be
I
here.
can move over.
Yeah,
You
or you
guys
can move
Sit
over.
next to each other.
And just tell us who you are, please.
Yeah, so I'm Mike Galen and this is
Allison.
Allison Galen. We live at 232 Tinker Street, which is the property directly east of IPA.
We bought it from Diane.
Okay.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
right, so we've been there for quite a while, 26 years going on now. And so since Eleanor Ferry was there and throughout the period that IPA has been there, they've been very good neighbors this time, and we certainly appreciate that you're growing. But when we looked at this proposal, I literally said the same words that you just did, that this is a big ask. I don't know what kind of material we got there, whether it shows our property or not, but the proposed area for this, thanks, great. You can't really see, it's the house there, okay.
It's the yellow house?
But
Yes.
we're set back because there's that field there. And this is exactly directly or very close to directly beside our house. It's a much bigger and worse thing, we think, than the rest of the company, which is much closer to the street and not intruding on the more private
Privacy.
homes that are in that area. So we did think it would probably have a fairly big impact on us, both as a, quality of life issue and as possible negative effect on the value of our property. So we're concerned about it. We certainly have questions, a few which were answered at this time about the height of it.
Mhm.
But we're talking about a 5,000-foot footprint, which is large. It's more
Twice
than-
the size of our house.
Yeah. And, these infringements on the setbacks are not 5, 10, 15 feet, they're 90 feet out of 125 feet and stuff like that. So, those are our feelings, we'd be concerned about it.
Right.
Can I make a comment?
Sure. Mhm.
Okay, well. I appreciate you saying we've been good neighbors, we try. I guess my counterpoint to that would be, I don't see how it would affect your quality of life. The point I was making is we can pretty much stay in front of the trees, this is a 40-foot container. And this back row is a set of, these are parking spots. So essentially, we would just be taking up the parking spots that are already there. I may have to take a couple trees down just for the building crew to get their telehandler back there potentially. We could try to avoid that. If there are line of sight issues, I'm okay with, maybe putting up some evergreens or something to block the view. I'm not looking out your window, so I'm seeing from my perspective, you have your perspective. To the value of the home, all I can say is that, we bring 100 well-paying jobs to the town. So I think that does bring value to the homes in the town, because there is a major shortage of living space in this area. One of the biggest problems I have in hiring people is they have no place to live, it's always been an issue. So, the value of manufacturing, it's light industrial, so we do very light manufacturing, but the value that we bring to the town is every day, we've got 100 people that go out, they shop, they go to the gas station, the sandwich shops, all of those aspects uplift the economy. So, maybe the building looks unsightly to you guys, but, to me, it's beautiful in the sense because it's, we're building, this is part of the economy. They talk about the American dream, that's my company. We invent things, we manufacture them. We make them happen from a thought, we make them into reality, and what we build here is, it's relatively innocuous, we don't use chemicals, we build things out of stainless steel, and all the hard manufacturing is done offsite, we do assembly, so. But I can certainly understand from your feelings, you got your house, you got this nice wooded lot next to you. But I just wanted to point that out, that, not as a point of an argument, but it's just that the wooded lot is basically unchanged. What we're really doing is putting it where there's asphalt now. And the line of sight from your house, if you're looking here, you're basically missing my fence, the building's in front of the fence, but if this becomes an issue, maybe we could put some tall evergreens around the edge here to help block that, so you guys don't have to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, we would be certainly willing to discuss ways to assuage, the impact on it, but we'd certainly like to have you consider changes in size and location of this. There are reasons why these setbacks were put in there. And that was, a factor in why we bought this home that is very quiet, isolated back there.
Okay. Do you have anything? Should address us, but I'm sorry. Are you guys?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're done. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for telling us. If you have anything else you want to let us know, you can send emails to Michelle, to the ZBA. They will come to us. Okay? Yep. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so there's somebody else who'd like to speak?
Yes, David Klein from 16 Spear Road.
Okay.
So we are situated directly to the north. And our driveway goes east to west. And we look to the south from a house directly above on the hill, down on the factory. And in between our driveway and our house, directly next to the driveway, is a waterway. And after getting the notice of the hearing and the proposed variance, I was able to, in speaking with Michelle,
Mhm.
she sent me a copy of the application. I did a little research in the limited time that I had, which I got this letter on Saturday.
Yeah, by law, I'm supposed to send it a week before the hearing, so I send them out on Monday.
It's the mail.
Okay,
Right.
with all due respect, I would
Yeah.
have liked to have had more time, given the impact, potential impact of the building.
Well, no decision is gonna be made tonight, so if you wanna submit anything else, or if you wanna do a little bit more research, you have time to submit it to myself, and then I would hand it over to the
Right.
board.
We can still accept.
Yes.
As a matter of, I guess, application procedure. Few of the questions here, there may have been some issues with it, but I believe the property is within 100 feet of the state road or county road. 212 is state road. He said it wasn't,
Oh,
and also said not within 100 feet of a water course. Which my brook is, in which case there needs to be a review. You have to get a permit for that. And I'm jumping around, but if it's near a waterway, they can't go, assuming they get the permit, it can't be more than 50 square feet. Or 500, excuse me. The building. Now, I propose that you add on to the building, make it a lot smaller, or put it over here.
There's no room over there.
Oh, the parking lot,
There's a fence. right
when
there.
I look down on it, is rarely full. It should be a lot closer to the building. Or at the other location. I know of one other near the library. There may be others, but I don't wanna look down on this every day, and I have a big red barn up there that's furnished. The second floor looks directly at it. There's gonna be more noise, which I'm hearing now. I don't know whether there is gonna be any utilities in there. I haven't seen anything. This is the research I started with. And talk about side yard setbacks. You're gonna be taking up 70 on the left. 70% of it, and 75 on the right. That's unacceptable, with all due respect. I'm not gonna have it.
Can I comment or is this?
You can
between
comment
guys?
to us.
Okay.
You're supposed to be directing your comments to us, so please
Fair enough.
respond.
Okay, well, I'm not here to upset anyone. I can understand that he's upset. I'm not hiding anything. I don't know of any waterway. If I mislabeled it as a county road. All I know is I got a manufacturing company. I got a big parking lot. Most of it's not used. And I have ample space there. The structure is no different than the structure that is already there. So,
But that structure is pre-existing.
no, I understand, but I'm saying just the looks of it.
Gotcha.
So if somebody else is looking down into my property, because it is my property. If someone's looking into my property and they're seeing another building and it looks the same as the building that's there.
It's a lot closer. And it's near state road, so you gotta go to Ulster first.
Right,
You
okay.
gotta get the permit for
Well,
the waterway.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I
listen,
wasn't done.
I'm sorry.
Let me finish. Okay, I understand there may be other steps. Okay, I respectfully went to the town to. See what it would look like to do. I haven't done this before.
Right.
Okay, I run a manufacturing company. I'm not a real estate developer. I don't know all the rules. Okay,
Right.
all I know is. I gotta put up a building before the end of the year, so my business doesn't suffer. So I reached out, had this meeting, see, what the objections are, what it's gonna take, what are the concerns of my neighbors and that type of thing, but at the end of the day, my first responsibility is to the people that work there and keeping a healthy operating business, so. To the other points that the gentleman brought up, what was your name again?
David Klein.
David Klein. Well, nice to meet you, first of all.
Nice to meet you.
It would be a lot cheaper for me and easier to build right off to the building. Okay, there's other issues with it that makes it not plausible. That was the first thing I looked at. Sorry, I know I'm not supposed to address them directly.
About it, yes.
Well,
What
there's,
were some of the issues?
well, some of the issues where there's an underground drainage that's tied into the whole parking lot that goes diagonal across the parking lot. And to dig that up is just not, the whole thing is pitched that way. I can't even, the disruption to my business, I can't afford to shut the business. I would have to shut the business down or do it. I can't afford to be down a day, let alone what the upheaval would be. That's really the main thing. All of my internal operations go out of this corner. This is where the closest thing we have to a loading dock, there's like a lift in there. So the way the tractor trailers drive through is they come down, they hang a left, and then they kind of snake around and come back out. So to move the building out, it would screw the whole flow. I agree, the parking lot is usually not full, and that's because we moved most of our people down to the other location. It's just for us, there's really no other place to put the structure. If there was, it would, like I said, attaching onto an existing structure is a lot less expensive. It's easier on some levels, but not really doable for us.
So was this supposed to be sent to the county, you think, since it's on a off of state route 212, state or county? Route?
I will look into that tomorrow.
All right, and then maybe we can investigate the stream issue that you brought up and find out what the rules are about that. In the meantime, maybe you can think if there are any other alternatives, somehow. Listen, I'm sure you've already thought it through. But given that, I think what I would do is move to recess rather than close the public hearing until we get some of these issues resolved, questions answered. And I'm going to recess it to the call of the chair. So when we get some of the information back, we could reopen the public hearing and see what information did. So move to recess, unless there's anybody else here who wanted to speak on this. Okay, so move to recess. Case
2501.
What is it?
2501.
2501 to the call of the chair. Do a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Is there anything else? We're good.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So procedurally, when you recess,
Mhm.
what is the process after that in terms of timing, what happens next? et
Right.
cetera?
So,
Notice?
so once we close the public hearing, which means we've gotten all the information that we need, we have 62 days to make a decision. The clock starts running at the close of the public hearing. And since we need a little bit more information, we don't know how long it's gonna take, we'll just recess it. We'll reopen it when we have, and Michelle will be sending out legal notices again, unfortunately, that she'll have to do that. But to let you know when the next public hearing will be, she'll be notified. And then we have 62 days to make a decision.
Now, since you are not an actual contiguous neighbor, you are not going to get a legal notice from myself. No, no.
Did you get a legal notice?
Yes.
I know, I didn't see your name on the
No,
list
your name
either.
was not-
So let me show you the map.
I wondered, because I saw there were a few houses.
Well, it was on. Well,
Do you have the notice with you?
yeah. Got a lot of papers here.
Yeah, that's because I sent it to you via email, but you didn't
No.
get much.
I got this in the map.
Hmm.
You see it? And here's my envelope.
Well, there you go. All right, so,
On a map,
Oh,
I'll
I'm
show
sorry,
you where I
Julie and
am.
David Klein, I'm sorry, yes, so yes,
Oh,
we will
sorry.
receive.
Semantics, really.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was looking at the wrong page number.
So I'm going back
Yeah,
here.
so you
This
will
is
get the,
proposed Building
Right.
here, we're right here, and that's the stream. So my house is above.
Great.
Down.
So can we get a copy of that showing the stream? Do
Oh,
we-
sure,
I think that's part of the application.
it
isn't it?
is, it's in the
Okay,
application.
all right.
And it's unnecessary, but this is,
Okay. I've actually recessed the public hearing. so
Yeah.
I think we probably have to stop here.
all right, you asked
Okay,
me.
and you can, anything anybody can submit, you could submit more information to us.
Rather
and-
not, but if I have to, I'll do a lot more. I'm passionate about it.
Yeah. Again,
Good, so am I. The only thing I would ask is, it
Yeah.
is, as I expressed, it's a sense of urgency for us. So anything we can do to move to that next stage, and if there's anything needed from us, again, I wasn't aware there's a stream back there, so I'll walk back and check it out, and, you know, anything we can do, we'll return it back as quickly as possible.
So the ZBA meets the second and fourth, Thursday of each month.
Okay.
So depending on the caseload as well, because we have a lot of cases at this point, so we don't know exactly when that's gonna happen, but it should happen within like the next 2 months.
Yeah.
Like I said, we only meet twice a month.
Okay.
But you'll get notice from me, as to when that's gonna happen.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, you too. All right, move to open ZBA case 2502, application of Felicia and Lords Ruiz, as represented by Donald Brewer, PO Box 71, Phoenicia, New York 12464, for property located in 204 McCullough Road, Woodstock, New York 12498. A 5.146 acre parcel located within an R5 zoning district for variance from the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, Article 4, Area and Bulk Regulations, Section 260-16, is modified by 260-20A in order to create two undersized lots, each containing existing residences. So please introduce yourself.
I am Colin Houston. I work with Don Brewer. I'm
Okay.
also a licensed surveyor.
Okay.
And I remember you from your time back in the 90s on the planning board.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, we're old timers now.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do we got?
Well, we've got a parcel that is co-owned by two different branches of the family.
I see.
There's two houses on the property.
Mhm.
I spent a fair amount of time on the telephone with the clients recently. Apparently, originally, everything was going along well, but as the current owner's children got older, they became the ones who started doing some more with the property, and they are not playing well. It's a,
Can we move this?
Yeah.
move this, please?
sure,
Thank you.
sure.
Okay, so can you see my?
Yeah.
Let me turn it around for us.
So we're kind of stuck with these two houses that are co-owned, lots of feuding going on. There have been calls to the police, there have been letters from attorneys. It's really just a mess. They don't own any contiguous property.
Right.
So there's no way to solve this other than to do a subdivision
Right.
so that they can each have their own thing. I would say that in terms of change to the neighborhood, I mean, the two houses are there, we're really just talking about an ownership line that goes down the middle, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 8 properties in the vicinity that are all below the, pre-existing non-conforming, but that are below the 5-acre threshold, so.
So I was kind of curious, this property was owned by someone since the in the 1970s, right?
Yes,
So this house, I think, is the one set back, this is a log house. I think this one.
yes,
And this was built back in the seventies. This one looks to me like it was more recently built. Do you have any idea about that?
I do not,
Just curious about how that came about. Do you know? So currently it's jointly owned by a family
yes.
and you're saying they can't come to an agreement about what to do on the property? Is that what it is? Is that pretty much what you're saying?
What it is, it's so complicated, but they kind of divvied it up in an informal way, like this is our house, this is your house, but everybody's got keys for the other people's houses, and it's just, there's lots of shenanigans going on.
Right.
Is this been? Has someone passed away and has this been passed down to the children?
That was the case, I think, about 30 years ago, and it's just kind of stayed that way.
Who owns the property?
So these are not, these are not immediate family members?
They are actually sisters-in-law,
Gotcha.
but the property's in there.
The property is in their name.
Yeah.
They're the two that want to separate the
Yes.
property.
Yes.
So, do you have any?
No.
Yeah, okay, so my comment to you about this is that what we would be doing would be creating two undersized lots.
Right.
Which would be a difficult precedent to set. I mean, we will certainly come look at it and, you know, we'll discuss it as a board, but I just wanted to say to you, that would be a really difficult precedent to set. And in the past, this board has, just to let you know, historically, not been willing to do that. So,
Really meet the criteria, what variance would be for, families not getting together. Necessarily meets that criteria.
so,
I hear what you're saying,
Yeah,
but I mean, there are two essentially principal structures.
got
If,
you.
if you were to grant it, it's really.
Well, one can certainly buy the other one.
You know, no, but you know, there are other properties in town that have done that, people who have, I'm just gonna give you, just write an example.
Yeah, sure.
Somebody has a house and they've decided to build an accessory apartment or a cottage or something on another portion of their property.
Mhm.
And they could say, well, this could be a living space and I want to cut my property in half, or I have two children and I would like for them to each have some of my property.
Mhm.
It's hard to argue against those arguments or those conditions, situations, if we were to do something like this. Now, I'm not saying we're not making a decision here tonight, but not everyone is here.
Okay.
And what I plan to do is for us to have a discussion among everybody, for hopefully we can get everybody here
Mhm.
about this, but just to give you.
Is there, I'm sorry, I
No,
didn't
no,
mean to
no, please.
interrupt. Is there any kind of sort of supporting information that I can submit to you that might sway you towards granting this? I mean, I was offered copies of the letters from the attorneys and copies of police report. I said, I don't think we want to get into that kind of minutia
Right.
here.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that we have the authority to even
It-
look at that.
Establish concretely
Right.
that there
There-
is
there
some
is a-
fireworks
there's a-
going on.
there's a
Now, would
dispute.
they, would they both continue to live there? So no one's planning to sell or move or anything?
Do
No,
either of them live there?
no.
Okay.
I don't think the fireworks are pertinent to a variance.
I think the two structures existing could be considered pertinent to the variance. I mean, it's,
But they have been here. This one has been here since the seventies. I'm trying to find out about this one, but it's been here at least since the nineties. So we're talking about a condition that has existed for maybe 35, maybe longer
Right.
years.
well,
So suddenly it becomes an emergency or an issue. And I'm not sure that that makes sense from a zoning perspective.
I understand. what
Yeah,
you're
so, you
saying.
know, so.
Would you like me to see what I can find out in terms of the age of this? Because I'd be happy.
You know, I I think I can probably get, I've already tried, but I will continue to look for it in the building department records. People were allowed to put up, accessory dwelling units and things like that. This does sort of, is this house blue? I
Yes.
just, yeah, okay, so I said, it's pretty close to the road.
Mhm.
Right, okay. And this one is set back.
Yep.
We would like to take a drive by, take a look at it, look at the conditions in the neighborhood. I did sort of look, and I would encourage everyone to do that. There are a lot of large lots up there. I think the one this one here is also 5 acres. A lot of them are on the larger side. And you're right, there are some undersized lots.
Mhm.
But the point of the zoning was to make those non-conforming, not to continue producing them. So listen, you've come for a variance. We will certainly look at it and we'll talk about it and see if what we come to as a board. That's all I can say at this point, but I'm just telling you, from the perspective of creating 2 undersized lots, it's not a great precedent for us to set. So, I understand why they would ask, but
I definitely understand where you're coming from. I could understand it more if we were trying to do this for a new construction.
right, I understand. Yeah. Interesting.
Right.
But it's
I'm just trying to think of a way that I could, well, I'll do some more digging.
Please,
If I have
please
something more to
send it to
submit, I'll
Michelle.
bring it in.
Send it to
So-
Michelle. Yes, do we have this map?
I think that's in the
I'm
application.
sorry, I didn't know,
You can have that one.
Okay, what happens is we get things digitally mostly now, because we're trying to not waste a lot of paper. So I'm looking at a map that's like, this big. So
Right.
it's helpful to have, if you have an extra one, that would be
Keep
great. Great, thank you. Okay. Thank you very
You-
much.
If that's helpful, it's just
Right.
labeling some of the
Yeah.
undersized lots in the
Yeah,
neighborhood.
I
You
did-
can hold on to that.
Right,
too.
and I did see, I think I printed out the tax map, so I could kind of see what there was, and I did notice there were some smaller ones and there are some larger ones as well, but we can keep this too. Do you have anything else for us?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, all right.
So if I do come up with some. Let's say I don't come up with anything more to submit. When do you reach the point where you do vote?
Okay, so if we're done here, I move to close the public hearing on case 2502. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Okay, so what that means is we will have to render a decision within 62 days.
Okay.
We often try to get them done before that. But, as you can see, we don't always have a full board. I would like to have everybody weigh in.
Mhm.
And we should have a discussion hopefully soon, if we can get everybody here.
May I ask that you hold off on voting to this until I look into whether I can come
Sure,
up with
of
some
course,
more
of
stuff?
course, yes, well, we don't meet again until 2 weeks from now,
Yeah.
maybe even 3 weeks, right? It's April something.
Yeah.
I'll chase it down.
So, and I don't think we'll be making a decision at our next meeting, because I would like for us to be able to discuss it all together, which would be in our next meeting, so
Gotcha.
the earliest would be.
April 10th.
which the earliest would be
April
the
27th. is the
Right,
following.
yeah, so the earliest would be the
24th.
second meeting in April that we would make a
Gotcha.
decision, okay? All right, thank you so
I
much.
almost took your
It's-
files.
It's nice to see you again, it was a long time ago.
Here, it was. I remember a couple of cases that.
Uh-oh, I'm not gonna ask.
No, they were fun.
You're fine, okay, good.
Don Brewer and I compliment each other well. He's not crazy about these meetings for some reason.
Yeah.
I kind of get a kick.
So you get sent to them, and yes, okay, look at you.
It's in early last month.
Okay, well, thank you again.
Thanks.
Have a good night. For the record, I just want to read the contiguous neighbors and
Oh,
state,
shoot, well,
That's okay.
I'm sorry, that was
No.
my fault.
and just state there are no contiguous neighbors present, and we did not receive any letters either of the City of Kingston Water
Sorry.
Department, PO Box 1527 in Kingston, and Rolando Ramirez at 412 Richardson Avenue in the Bronx.
Okay, thank you, sorry about that. It's just that there were so many people in the audience. I knew nobody was here.
Have a good night.
And there's nobody on Zoom either, is there?
I know, I'm shocked.
Yeah, you can see if there's any.
Yeah.
if there's no-
I let nobody in, nobody.
We're so fascinating tonight. Okay, move to open ZBA case 2503, application of Gerald Hunkowski. Am I pronouncing it right? And for property located at 22 Oriole Drive, Woodstock, New York, 12498, a 1.13 acre parcel located within an R5 zoning district for a variance from the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, Article 4, Area and Bulk Regulations, Modification of Required Yards, Section 260-26B2B, for a 17-foot infringement into a 25-foot side yard setback in order to construct a 24 by 14-foot studio workshop. So please introduce yourself.
I'm, excuse me, Gerald Hunkowski. I'm new to Woodstock, moved here, we bought it in October. And, but I've been in Ulster County for the last 20 years.
Welcome
So
to Woodstock.
thank you. So we're frequent visitors to Woodstock. But my daughter lives on Tinker Street. And so when I retired last year, we decided to consolidate our property to buy in Woodstock. So that's what brings us here.
Right. We can each have one of these. Please, I still like paper, you know?
I do too.
Okay. So please tell us what you want to do.
Right, I want to put up a 24 by 14 foot workshop. I'm a woodworker. I build furniture and you know, cutting boards and bowls and things like that, just small things. So I'm looking for a shop to put up a shop. I have or had a wood shed that was shown on the map that was set back about 8 feet from the property line. It was 6 by 16, that shed, which has since been sold and moved. And I want to put the new shed very near where that shed was. Yeah, this, I sent an addendum. I thought it was added. So the map changed slightly. This is where the old shed was, the 16 by 6 foot shed. There's a small garden shed here that's 8 by 10. And then this is where the new 24 by 14 foot shed would go. I'd like to move this shed back to here because there's a big old maple tree right here. And that shed was right up against that maple. And I'd like to just get this shed off from that tree a little bit. Just, I'd hate to see anything happen to the tree. And then move it forwards, in which case then I'd take the existing shed and put it in the back. It would make a more attractive look from the road looking at a new shed. Andy Glicker, who's on this property, he and I have walked it and we've talked about it and he's fine with whatever I want to do over here. But that's the plan, is to put the new shed here and then move this old shed over behind it.
Okay, so that's not going to change the distance for your variance.
It doesn't,
It's just a
no.
slightly different
Correct,
location.
yeah.
Do you have any images of the shed?
Do.
Okay. Please show us.
This would be the shed that I'd be
Okay,
putting up.
okay, so this looks like a garage.
Yeah, if the garage door would be on the back side
Okay.
towards the maple tree.
Okay. all right. So
Yeah,
the front, do you know what the front of it would look like?
it's just
Just. like
it's
the
just
rest of
blank.
it?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't.
No, that's
Well,
okay.
maybe no, I'm sorry, I don't.
Okay, that's fine. We can picture it as long as this is to the rear.
That would be to the rear, yes,
Okay.
and the reason it would be to the rear is because this is the only entrance other than this, and that I would want to the side of the house, not to the side of Mr. Licker's property, so.
It's a really good
exactly.
building. I get it. Okay,
So I can assure you that the garage door will be to the back,
okay.
and then there's no window or anything on that end of the shed. Seriously.
Any questions?
Is this a hobby or a business?
It's a hobby, yeah. I mean, I sell the boards but it's not a business. You know, I got farmer's work, I might have a table or, yeah, just,
Are you milling wood too, or you just?
I'm sawing it, sanding it,
Right.
planing it, but I'm not, but I'm not buying, logs or anything and cutting them into boards.
Okay.
So I'm buying, everything's pre-cut, and most of it's killed.
And all of that would take place inside of the
Yes,
building?
yes.
Which presumably is somewhat soundproof for your neighbors?
Yeah, it's gonna be fully insulated and,
Okay.
so that, yeah, I'm a respectful neighbor, I would try to keep.
Okay. You guys have any other questions?
It's the only location on the property that, because of the topography of the property, I can't go in the backyard. So this location is the one that makes sense.
Right.
Right, you already had something in there, essentially. In that
We-
location.
we
You're just expanding it, it's a little bit bigger.
It's a little bit bigger.
So what is the square footage on it now?
It's 24 by 14, so 240, about 320.
Yeah.
320.
Is there gonna be any utilities in it? Obviously, you must have light,
I'll have electricity to it,
but not water.
not one.
It's never gonna be converted into a living space. You never know what's gonna happen.
You're right about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
No, it's not gonna be converted.
Okay. All right, well, since I overlooked this before, Michelle, do we have any contiguous neighbors? You're all here.
Andrew Glicker, 20 Oriole Drive, Woodstock, New York, 90 Vandale LLC, 305 Chestnut Hill Road, Woodstock, New York. Ashland Sivensich and Susanna Rizzo, 90 Vandale Road, Woodstock. Judith Lotta, 24 Oriole Drive, she did send in a letter of support. Sky Violet Wilson, 101 Bedford Avenue, number D402, Brooklyn, New York. And Ronnie Wildren, Donald Guidi, 17 Oriole Drive in Woodstock, New York. No
Yeah.
neighbors are present and no more letters were received.
And Judith and Andy are on either side of me, and Ronnie and Don are across the street. The rest are way behind me and up by the hill with lots of
Right.
trees between us. They would let you see it.
Right, well, they didn't.
I mean, there's
contact us.
something there now.
Right, yeah, yeah. And this would even be a not as tall a structure as what was there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
The other one was more like a two-story?
Well, it was 13 feet tall, so
Yeah.
this will be just around 11. a little less.
Okay. All right, now you had mentioned, in terms of a site visit, would you be okay if we just kind of drive by and you aren't, or do you need to be, do you feel like you need to be
No,
there?
you do not need to be there.
Okay.
You're welcome to do that. And if you
Okay.
do, I pounded green stakes that are about 4 feet tall in each corner where the shed would go.
Okay,
So you'll be able to see that. And then-
Perfect.
And then if you walk around, there's a little table and chairs right here. But if you walk
Okay.
around that, there's some cement blocks out laying on the ground. And that would represent where the corners of these would go.
perfect.
So you'd
So
be
we
able to
can
see
just
very
take a
clearly,
look.
yes.
Okay, that would be very helpful, and then we don't have to necessarily tie you down to any specific time. Okay, that sounds good to me, and you know, it's pretty, I drive past there fairly frequently on my way to Kingston, so I could certainly swing by and take a peek. I don't know. I'm gonna encourage everybody to try to get by and look at these places if we
Mhm.
can. I think it's just helpful if everybody looks. All right, so move to close the public hearing for case 2503. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so you heard the deal. We have 62 days. Something like this generally doesn't take that long, but Michelle will be in touch. You can also,
This shed is sitting on the lot, and it's a 1920 or 2024 price if I can buy it. So
Oh, gotcha.
I'm hesitant to put a deposit down because
I
this
know.
doesn't go.
That happened with one of the other
I get it,
cases we
yeah.
kept postponing, right?
Yeah.
They were like, we didn't buy it because we were afraid. Yeah, okay, so we will try to get this
I-
done
I-
ASAP and. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
Okay, so there are some other cases coming up. I don't think we're gonna open them and discuss them tonight, but please read your emails. The other thing I just wanted to discuss briefly was, and I think Michelle gave us all a copy of the open meetings law. We all know we're supposed to be discussing cases publicly, so we're gonna be working on doing that at every meeting, so just wanted to bring that up. Hand out the law so we can all read it and not get ourselves into any more hot water. So, anybody have anything to add about that? I just wanted to point it out, and I wish that everyone was here, and hopefully we're gonna start seeing more of the full board. This has been brutal on the show, that we never know. Thank you for being here, both of you. So we're gonna have to work on that too, so. With that,
Don't we need to ask if anybody has anything, or you did, right? Wasn't that the point of, after each case, before you close it, do you have a comment?
Yes.
Each person has to be asked, right?
yes, I did ask.
Did
if
you do
any-
that?
I did,
Okay,
and the other thing.
it's
was-
just passed, and I remember that's what got us in hot water
Yeah.
first.
Well, I think you did ask some questions and I did ask if there were any questions.
Mhm.
But the thing is, when it comes to making our decision, I think that we need to have a discussion about what would go into the
Before.
decision
Right,
before we make the decision.
correct.
Not just if we have questions when people present their cases,
Mhm.
but after we review everything, what are our thoughts, you know, the pros, the cons, the what are we giving weight to? And that's where I think we fell short. We came out with a decision without having what was considered an adequate public discussion. I think that we did, but we're gonna have to be a little more careful.
Yeah.
So,
And that's why now I have to publish everything online 24 hours prior to every meeting. Like, we're little steps have been taken for us to comply with everything
Right.
that we have to do moving forward.
so,
we
so
don't get
do you
into
do you think that, and you know, we certainly can do it, but do you think that when it comes time for us to discuss these things, that has to be published 24 in advance? It probably does, right? The agenda gets
It could
published
be-
and the agenda gets published and it could be on the agenda. I suppose,
Yes,
too.
discussion,
Okay.
yes,
So we'll put,
which is
you
what
know,
we started doing last year towards the end.
Right,
That's
with
what
the
I would
performance
put
cases.
discussion
Right,
of certain cases
Right.
before voting.
right. So that, but that's, I think, a 24 hours.
Yes, that's an advance.
So we can figure that out and we can be
Mhm.
ready to do it.
Mhm.
Okay, we're gonna be busy this year, guys. Be ready.
Okey dokey.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming, both of you.
Yeah,
First one.
okay, so I move to adjourn our meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're all in favor. Thank you so much. Right,
All right.
right.